Okay, welcome back. Are you ready? Let's start. Number 1, decidí hacerlo. I decided to do it. I decided to do it. I decided to do it. Hay mucha de dura aquí. I decided to do it. Los guiris, cuando venimos aquí a este país, decimos, fijaos cómo hablamos español nosotros. Yo decidí hacerlo. Decidí. Es una de muy dura. I decided to do it. Ahora, decidí no hacerlo. I decided not to do it. To do it or not to do it? That is the question. To be or not to be? That is the question. To drink or not to drink? That is the question. To hold a pen during class or not to hold a pen? That is the question. Okay. El negativo del infinitivo es muy sencillo. To go, not to go. To be, not to be. To do, not to do it, not to do it. Decidí hacerlo, I decided to do it. Decidí no hacerlo, I decided not to do it. Él me dijo que no lo hiciera, he told me not to do it. Me insistieron que no lo hiciera, they insisted that we not to do it, not to do it, not to do it, okay? Decidí no hacerlo. I decided not to do it, after all. I spent, well, me no, but my team spent 3 weeks making the decision. And the final decision was to do it. And then, on D-Day, el día de, in the morning, I decided not to do it. Yeah, I got cold feet. Se me enfriaron los pies. I got cold feet and I decided not to get married. Yeah. I decided not to get married at the last moment. And the bride was in her white bridal gown, waiting to go to church. And I called her and I said, Margarita, yes, Richard. I've made a decision. What? I've decided not to get married. To get married or not to get married? That is the question. And she flipped out. She said, what? Okay. I said, I'm sorry, Margarita, but it's a very important decision. It's a very big step in my life. And I think perhaps it's better for me not to do it, not to get married, not to tie the knot. Decís también atar el nudo, ¿no? Aquí, to tie the knot. Okay, and so I didn't get married, which is not true. I got married. Okay, me puse de acuerdo en hacerlo. I agreed to do it. Finally, I agreed to do it. Margarita said, but Richard, really, come on. Do you love me? And I said, well, of course I love you. And would you like to know if I love you? Well, of course I would like to know. Do you love me, Margarita? I adore you. Oh, that's nice. Well, pensándolo bien, se dice en inglés, on second thought, literalmente en segundo pensamiento, on second thought, all right, sigamos adelante con esta bola. Let's go ahead. Let's go ahead with this wedding. Why not? It's only a wedding. It's only getting married. It's only tying the knot for life. So why not? So I decided to get married. And then we went to the church. And we were standing in front of the priest. She's Catholic, I'm not, but I decided to get married through a Catholic church. So the priest said to me, Richard, do you take Margarita to be your wife through sickness and health, everything? And I said, yes, I do. Then he turned to Margarita and said, Margarita, do you take Richard to be your lawful husband, to love and to cherish through sickness and in health, through death, through riches and poor, until death do you part? And Margarita looked at the priest and she said, could you repeat the question, please? And he did. And the second time she said, well, I'm not so sure. Well, bueno, pensándolo bien, on second thought, and she looked at me and said, okay. And so we got married. And we're still married, can you believe it? After all these years, wow. We deserve una medalla, we deserve a medal. All right. Decidí hacerlo, I decided to do it. I decided not to do it. I decided to do it. Finally, I decided not to do it. In the end, y me puse de acuerdo en hacerlo. I agreed to do it. I agreed with you. I agreed to do it. I agreed on the plan. Aquí tenemos agree con 3 formas. To, on, and with. Estuve de acuerdo contigo en ello. O estaba de acuerdo. I agreed with you. Estuve de acuerdo en hacerlo. I agreed to do it. Estuve de acuerdo en el plan B. I agreed on plan B. Cuando te pones de acuerdo en algo, on something. Cuando te pones de acuerdo en hacer algo, o en ver algo, o en visitar algo, to agree to visit. Y cuando estás de acuerdo con una persona es with, como en Spanish, like in Spanish. All right, es divertido viajar. It's fun traveling. I love to travel. I like traveling. I love traveling. Traveling is fun. Traveling, doble L en inglés británico, L es simple, en inglés americano. Traveling is a blast. A blast es una voladura, o sea, se lo pasa bomba uno viajando. I love to travel. I love to see new places. I love to visit exotic lands. Yeah, I love doing a lot of things. I love eating. I love trying new foods. I love the smells and flavors of a different culture. I love traveling. Es divertido viajar. It's fun to travel. Traveling is fun. It's fun to travel. Traveling is fun. Fun significa divertido, no gracioso. Funny significa gracioso. Una persona graciosa a veces también es persona divertida, porque te lo pasas bien. A veces una persona graciosa puede resultar un poco pesada al final. Sometimes a funny person is not fun after a certain amount of time. A fun person is a person you enjoy being with. The person is not necessarily funny, but interesting, and you enjoy being with that person. Okay, disfruto hablando con ellos. I enjoy talking with those people. They have a lot of interesting conversations. They have a lot of interesting information. The husband was born in Utah, in Salt Lake City, Utah, with the Mormons. He's not a Mormon, but he was born among Mormons, and his best friends were Mormons. And when he was 20 years old, he left Salt Lake City. He didn't finish the university, and he came to Spain. And he started working as an English teacher. Now he's 54, and he's still an English teacher, and he's considered one of the best. And his wife is from Japan, and they met in India. Strange, okay? So disfruto hablando con ellos. I enjoy talking with these people. The Japanese wife speaks English almost perfectly, okay? And of course the husband, because he's from Utah, speaks English perfectly. So we enjoy talking with them all the time. Agradezco recibir cartas como esta. I appreciate receiving letters like this. Dear Mr. Vaughan, thank you very much for your television programs. I have learned more in the past 3 months with your show than in the past 30 years in academias. I can't believe how much time I have wasted trying to learn English the wrong way. Watching you has changed my life, and I notice big progress every day, simply because you have made English interesting and fun and stimulating. Thank you very much. Signed, okay, Olegario Gegúndez. Well, dear Olegario, okay, agradezco recibir cartas como la suya. I appreciate receiving, gerundio. I appreciate receiving letters like yours. I appreciate having you every day watching this program. I appreciate the interest you show in this program. And I appreciate your sending me letters like this one. I appreciate receiving these kinds of letters because me levantan la moral. They lift my morale. They lift my morale and make me feel really, really good, yeah. To lift, to lift, to lift. To lift weights is levantar pesas. Lifting weights is very good for you. Many people consider lifting weights as like Arnold Schwarzenegger, just to create muscles, but no. If you lift weights the right way, you can convert it into cardiovascular exercise too. Lifting weights in relatively quick fashion is better for cardiovascular than spending an hour, 10 minutes lifting weights, boom, 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 is equivalent of an hour on a treadmill where you're walking or running, okay? Don't underestimate, no menosprecies, no subestimes Don't underestimate the power and the benefit of weightlifting. All right, to lift. This table is too heavy to lift. This microphone is not too heavy. It's a little heavy, but it's not too heavy to lift. And to lift your morale, escrito morale, hay una E al final, por eso la pronunciación cambia de moral to morale. Y cuando estamos hablando de la moral, que es el grado de entusiasmo que puede haber en un sitio, o de entrega, we say the morale. The morale is very high in this TV show, or the morale is very low, okay? And if the morale is very low, if you're the manager, your job is to exercise leadership and to lift the morale. Okay, that's a manager's job, among other things. A manager's job is to organize the necessary work, not necessarily to set the objectives. Sometimes the objectives come down from the general manager, but if you negotiate with the general manager, you negotiate the objectives. Then you organize, well, you staff your department with the people you need and recruit the right people. Then you organize the work among the people. Then you supervise the work done by your people, and you motivate the people to work as hard as possible. And if the morale is low, then you need to use psychological techniques and lift the morale. Usually, if your leadership is good, if you exercise good leadership skills, you don't need to lift the morale. People already enjoy working with you, and an outsider, uno de fuera, an outsider will notice a high level of morale in the organization or in your department. Okay. Yes, agradezco recibir cartas como esta. I appreciate receiving letters like the one I spoke about a few seconds ago. I appreciate having you here, watching this show. I appreciate seeing you every day through the camera. I appreciate knowing. Agradezco saber que te gusta este programa. I appreciate knowing. I appreciate. I am grateful. Es otra forma de decir lo mismo. Prefiero I appreciate. Si digo I am grateful, parece demasiado agradecido. Es como si me hubieras salvado la vida o algo. I thank you for saving my life. My God, I'm so grateful. What can I do for you? Anything. I'll do anything. I'm so grateful. Now, agradezco el esfuerzo que estás haciendo. I appreciate the effort you're making. Yo no diría personalmente, I'm grateful for the effort, porque este grado de agradecimiento por tu esfuerzo no tengo. Yo creo que es tu deber esforzarte, pero no obstante digo agradezco tu esfuerzo. I appreciate your effort, even though I think it's something that you owe me more than I owe you. I don't owe you anything. ¿Te debo algo? Do I owe you anything? I don't think I owe you anything. Well, maybe a little bit. A little. If you stop watching this program, you're one viewer less. And if many people like you get bored with this program and decide not to watch it anymore, then eventually I'll lose my job. Eventually. ¿Qué significa eventually? No significa eventualmente. Eventually means al final, antes o después, tarde o temprano, pasado ya el tiempo. Eventually I'll lose my job if people like you decide that this show is not very interesting, not very stimulating. So yes, I owe you a debt of gratitude. Thank you very much for watching this program. Without you, I would not have this job, and I would need to find another job without you. So yes, I owe you. 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 Te daré un pagaré. I'll give you an IOU. Así se dice en inglés. Pagarés no formales, pagarés entre personas físicas. Mira, toma. I owe you $20, and I will pay you the $20 before the end of next month. Here, Manolo, it's for you. It's an IOU. Te estoy dando un pagaré. Okay, I'm giving you an IOU. Así se dice. Y con letra grande. I, O, letra O, you, letra U. Pero significa I owe. El verbo owe, owe, you. Okay, so I owe you. What do I owe you? Do I owe you anything? How much do I owe you? Fijaos, os sonará extraño con el do. How much do I owe you? No confundas owe con own, que es poseer o tener propiedad. I own a house. I own property. Okay? I owe money on the house I own because I'm still paying my mortgage. My mortgage, mi hipoteca. Mortgage escrito, se pronuncia mortgage. Mortgage. So, I owe money on the house I own. Okay? I still owe money. Okay, now, do I owe you anything? Do I owe you a debt of gratitude? En inglés se dice, te tengo una deuda de gratitud. I have a debt, or I owe you a debt of gratitude. Now, do you owe me anything? What do you owe me? How much are you paying for this program? Nothing, it's free. You don't owe me anything. The only thing you owe me is your effort, your time, your patience with me, and your attention. Préstame tu atención. In English, me lo pagas. Pay attention to me. And so you owe me your attention because you have to pay it. When you sit down in front of the TV and you watch this show, you are paying me, okay? En este caso, attention, not money. But you're paying me, so you have a debt. Tienes una deuda de atención. Paying attention to me. Okay, mi amigo insistió en ir conmigo. My friend insisted on going with me. He insisted on going. He insisted on going. Se empeñó en venir conmigo. Se insistió en acompañarme. He insisted on going with me. To insist. Same in English as in Spanish. In Spanish, insistir en English, insist on. Y luego el gerundio, por favor, no se te olvide. Gerund. Yo insistí en acompañar a mi amigo. I insisted on going with my friend. I insisted on using this microphone. I insisted on having water in the class. And when they didn't give me a pen, I said, Marta's one of the siete magníficos arriba. I said, Marta, I need a pen. I said, well, what do you need a pen for? Are you going to write on television? No, but I want a pen. I said, why? Because I insist on having a pen, okay? Do I need to give you any more reasons? The simple fact that I want a pen means I want a pen right here. So I needed to insist. I had to insist on having a pen. And finally she said, okay. Finally she gave in. Dio el brazo. Se dio. Dio el brazo a torcer. I had to insist and insist and insist for a simple pen. Can you believe it? Can you believe it? But now I have my pen. Now I can use it. It gives me security. I can't teach on television without a pen, all right? So I insisted on having, and I insisted on using these two books, only these two books. I haven't used any other books during this entire season, temporada, only these two. Translation booklet B, es una preciosidad del libro. Este libro, bueno. And focus pack book 3, okay? Focus pack book 3, all right? So I use one for 1/2 hour and the other for the other half hour. And I insisted on using these books, a pesar de que, in spite of the fact that the people up there thought it was a crazy idea. Only these books? Don't you need more? I said, look, I only need these two books and my pen, my microphone and my water. That's all I need to teach English for 10 years in a row, if necessary. Because these books, these two, give enough English to cover everything that's essential for communication, all right? So I insisted, and I got what I wanted. I insisted on having a pen. I insisted on having a cup of water. I insisted on keeping this microphone in class, even though sometimes it doesn't work. It gives us problems, okay? This gives us problems And we often have to take it off and then put it back because it gives us problems. But I insisted on using this microphone. And I insisted on using, to insist on, más gerundio, insist on. Siempre insiste en que yo esté con él. He always insists on my being with him. He always insists on having somebody with him. He suffers a high degree of insecurity. And so he never likes to be alone. He always wants to have somebody he knows close to him in these moments. And he insists on having somebody from the family or one of his best friends with him at all times. En todo momento, at all times. Él insistió en ir conmigo. He insisted on going with me. Es pesadito, eh? He's a bit of a pain in the neck. He's a pain in the neck. Un dolor en el cuello, como el tortícolis. Es nuestra forma en inglés de decir, es un pesado. Pepe, buena persona. He's a fantastic guy, but he's a pain in the neck. El hombre insistió en ir conmigo. ¿Te lo puedes creer? He insisted on going. He insisted on going with me. And I couldn't say no. It's impossible for me to say no to Pepe. He's such a nice guy. Es un tío tan majo. He's such a nice guy. But then, he always insists on driving. It's a fight. It's a company car. The car doesn't belong to me and it doesn't belong to, it belongs to the company. And so listen, this is true. Last week I had to drive to Orense from Madrid. It's a long drive. It's about 4.5 hours, 4 hours, 4.5 hours. And when Pepe found out, when Pepe found out that I was planning to go to Orense, he insisted on going with me. And I said, well, Pepe, I mean, it's a long way. But he insisted on going with me. And because I was going to use a company car, he insisted on driving. And he's so insistent, he's a pain, well, Pepe's a pain in the neck, okay? También se puede decir a pain in the ass, it's in the posterior. Se dice incluso más, he's a pain in the ass. But it's a little bit more refined to say he's a pain in the neck, okay? But he's a nice guy. Everybody loves him, but he's a pain in the neck. And he insisted on going to Orense with me, and he insisted on driving. Jesus, my God. Because Pepe, when he drives, he never pays attention to the traffic. He's always driving with one hand, and he's talking. He loves to talk. También puedo decir he loves talking. Con el verbo love o like en el presente, admite gerundio o infinitivo. And Pepe loves talking. And when he talks, he's looking at the passenger. He's talking like this. And I'm sitting, and I said, Pepe, would you mind looking at the road and driving? Would you mind looking? Would you mind también gerundio? ¿Te importaría mirar la carretera y dejar mirarme a mí cuando hablas? Just look straight ahead. Can't you talk to somebody and not have to look at him? It's multitasking, okay? It means you look at the highway and you talk to me. But don't turn and look at me while you're driving. It drives me crazy and it scares me. Me asusta, okay? Of course, it's a 4-lane highway. 2 lanes in one direction, 2 lanes. Escrito lane para carril. De 4 carriles, autovía, what you call here. It's a 4-lane highway, which means that it's not so dangerous if Pepe is not paying attention. But still, sometimes the car is not going straight. It's moving toward the side. I say, Pepe, watch the road. And he's a good driver, but he doesn't pay attention. Okay, so he's a pain in the neck. Pero él insistió en ir. He insisted on going. He insisted on driving. He insisted on staying in a 5-star hotel, lo cual no está mal, because the company's paying for it. But I'm one of the owners of the company, so indirectly I'm paying for the 5-star hotel. But he insisted on all of these things, and he insisted on coming back with me. And when we came back again, he insisted on driving. But I'm here, which means that I made it back in one piece. And I'm still alive to continue teaching for another day. Bicho malo nunca muere. Mañana vengo. Tomorrow I'm coming back with a vengeance. I'm coming back to teach you English. And I insist on your studying. I insist on your studying English very much. Because if you don't, you're wasting your time watching me. Okay, time's up. The time's up. The party's over. I'm sorry. All good things must come to an end. And this class is over, my friend. So I'll see you again tomorrow. Bye-bye.